Hello and welcome. I'm Sue Ann with Right Mix for Business, and I'm live today on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And I'm here with a special guest co-host, Jamie Shine. And today on the Marketing Mirror, because everything you do reflects your business and brand, we're going to be talking about LinkedIn. And we're going to get to the bottom. Oops, I'm on the wrong page, guys. Sorry. We're going to get to the bottom of where should your business be? Where do you belong? Are you a profile? Are you a business page? Where are you going to get the most impact with your LinkedIn efforts? And that's what we're going to try to figure out and discover today. And as I said, my co-host Jamie Shine has experience with Clearly Conveyed Communications, her company, and LinkedIn for client work that she's going to be able to share with us today. So I want to welcome Jamie to the stage. Let's bring Jamie up. Hello, my darling.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good, and how are you today?
I am good. Can't complain.
I broke my mic, so I hope people can hear me okay. We're totally experimental on the mic. I'm going to be doing the thing with muting because I don't know if it's this big open studio space or what, but sometimes my guests are getting an echo. I've removed and turned off any device nearby per Eileen's advice last week. So hopefully everything will go good and people can hear us. So one of the things I wanted to announce today is that Jamie's going to be a co-host on the show on a kind of a regular basis. So at least once a month, we're going to try to work on and see, from there if it turns into more times, depending on her busy schedule. And the reason it's such a great fit is A, Jamie's so smart and so creative and has a lot to offer, but B, she has a lot of, client experience that she can share with us. And C, we work on so many of the same topics. We talk about so many of the same topics that we're sharing ideas anyway. Why not share them with you guys too? So let me know if you're around, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube. Please be sure to put comments because Jamie and I can see them. We can answer them. We can bring them up onto the stage. And so we'll be able to answer you. Oops, I didn't mean to put that up. Sorry, guys. I'm new at operating this live sometimes. I'm out of practice. It's been a while. But today's topic, I think, is really something that is worth talking about. So with 1.6 billion people visiting LinkedIn each month, it may make sense to do a better job with your presence there. So today, we want to take a deeper dive into LinkedIn. We want to start with that burning question that we do have. Is it a company page or a personal profile? Where do we put our efforts? Or maybe is it both? And Jamie's going to help us figure that out. Right, Jamie?
Absolutely.
So also, Jamie will be sharing, as I mentioned already, her secrets from experience with LinkedIn, doing her account for Clearly Conveyed Communications and for her clients, many clients. So this will give us insights into what's working and some tactics, and we'll be able to find the best approach for our unique needs and purposes. Remember, everybody's going to approach it a little bit different, but we can all learn from each other. So please share your ideas and thoughts as well. And let's see. Certainly, though, there are pluses and minuses which exist for both options. So it's important to investigate and weigh the benefits because we want to make a more informed decision. And then by doing so, as I said, we can concentrate our efforts more heartily where they belong. So the question is business page on LinkedIn or personal profile on LinkedIn. And first, before we get into that, Jamie and I thought we'd give you a few LinkedIn updates in case you haven't heard some of these yet. Jamie, do you have anything in particular on the updates you want to introduce, or should I just go through with I made my little slideys?
Yeah, go ahead and jump in and I'll add anything that I have.
Okay. As you know, maybe you know, last week and this week, guys, I'm not in my studio, so I'm totally like traveling and winging it and doing some important things other than my work. So I'm a little out of it. But anyway, we're getting there. Uh-oh. So AI and privacy and you. There's a new thing that was just introduced. I heard it about a week ago, but then it came up again recently where LinkedIn, without like kind of announcing it or anything, turned on an option in your privacy settings that says that they can use your AI for any purpose. They can use AI to gather information for their purposes. In other words, they're gathering anything that you share on LinkedIn is now able to be fed into AI. And a lot of people were like, what? My thought leadership, all of my posts, all of my creative. I don't know if I want to be feeding the machine with my own stuff. And so I want to make sure that you know about this and that you look, there is a setting to turn off the AI that was automatically turned on with no announcement keep yourself private and to protect especially your, what do you call them, Jim? Your rights,
Your intellectual property.
that's it.
Yeah, that's my issue with it. Understand we need to train AI so it continues to improve. But like you said, they just automatically turn it on. You have to dig through your settings and find it to turn it off. And they didn't even tell anyone.
Right. It was like what they were doing when they started changing bios that we talked about a few weeks back. Because I think that you should have consent, or they should at least be realistic. Like they were making up things, not using people's real bio. And that's a problem because we want to be authentic, we want to be transparent, and AI may not know us as well as we know ourselves. Right?
Right.
And also, some things are intellectual property. Like some things have to be intellectual property. I don't know. Or is everything up for grabs that you put out? I mean, you want to be a thought leader in your field. I mean, that's what we strive for. We're always thinking forward and trying to learn. I'm not sure I want to give that all away. I mean, I want to give it away at my discretion, put it that way.
Right. The other side of that too is, I mean, we don't have to worry about this because obviously what you're putting out, what some people on this call are putting out is fantastic information. But they're taking this from anyone on LinkedIn. You see all some of the stuff people post. So what are we using to train AI?
I know, truly. Welcome, Lisa. Welcome, 30-day email challenge. We are here to learn about LinkedIn, and this is a LinkedIn Live event. Let's move on to some of their other new things. So, did you know, are you aware, have you gotten the notice that there will be no more Gold Community Top Voices badges? You know, all that writing you've been doing to train their AI and answer questions about marketing, communications, writing, organizational challenges, leadership, all that stuff you've been doing to get your little brown or gold, however your browser sees it, little beige badge that says you're a top voice. Well, they're discontinuing that. So beware that you can still write your heart out, but they're not going to give you any credit. And I'm not sure, Jamie, but excuse me. I think one of the issues was that people who have earned that top voice from LinkedIn, those blue, honorary badges that were deemed, you got bestowed on you from LinkedIn, were starting to dissolve in their meaning when everybody that filled out the right papers or the right AI answers were getting a badge. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that had something to do with it. There was no quality control process in place. So just it was purely based on quantity. People were going in and answering a ton of questions, and there was no way for LinkedIn to verify how good the answers were or the authenticity of the answers. So people were just receiving these badges. They could have been copying and pasting anything in there. So LinkedIn realized they had an issue and said, okay, let's back off from this a little bit and not call attention to people who may just be spamming conversations and groups. And
It might be like a quality badge versus I mean, a quantity badge versus a quality badge.
Right.
And so they
Absolutely.
realized the error of their ways, perhaps. Lisa, I'm so glad to see you. By the way, let's get back and see what's next on their thing. So if you didn't know, that's going away. So you can keep writing and helping the AI till your heart's desires, but the little reward system is no more, at least in that way. Scheduling for polls you can now do. So you were able to pre-schedule for posts, but not for polls. So that's something new in case you didn't know. That's kind of nice. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I like that. Anytime they can help you engage with your audience or your community, and make that a little bit easier. Obviously, we have busy schedules. We've got a lot going on. So now that you can schedule that, polls are fun. Polls really draw engagement in. So I love this update.
So I know for me, I like to work at weird times of the day or night. And so having the ability to schedule something on business hours, because I work when it's quiet, and when it's quiet could be, who knows when, day or night. So the scheduling option for is nice in that way. Also, if you have something that's like really timely that you're trying to like ride on a trend or an event, that would be a good way to do it.
Yes, it's a good idea.
I'm putting up your note here.
Yeah, I thought I'd throw that in the comments.
People can see some of the things to think about. I really think they should. I really think they should, disclose some things. I think there's something sneaky about that. But of course, they do want all the information they could get. And there are a lot of issues about intellectual rights and property that are at
Hmm.
stake. I mean, we don't want to not help. We don't want to not be moving forward and learning about things like AI and how it can help us. But we don't want it to be like in front of us. We want to have the say, I think.
Yeah.
So there's also this is really a cool little trick I just heard about. So you know how they decided they don't like you sharing your own URL back to your site or things like that, and so they've
Mhm.
shrunk down the photo when you do share it from the larger size.
Yes.
Now, if you use a quote and the URL, then it will give you a full size layout. They're saying of the visual. So it's a kind of a workaround that I saw. I will write all this stuff down too, more for you guys to give you more of the tips of how these things go. But that's an interesting one. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm excited about this because I have definitely noticed the reduced size on the what I call a link preview post, which can seriously affect engagement. Sometimes you want to drive people back to your website or to another URL, and it doesn't look as good. It's not as aesthetically pleasing, so it's not as likely to catch someone's eye who's scrolling down their LinkedIn feed. So this is interesting. I'm looking forward to trying it, to see how it works.
I was really surprised when I saw this, but happily so. And I think another thing that you use is those carousels for visuals, and I think
Yes.
those can be really highly effective, and they can be done with a minimal of copy and still be so powerful, so that the visual
Yes.
carries it. Will you talk
Mhm.
about the carousels a little bit? Because those are really popular either on business or personal pages.
Yeah, and that's something you can do on either landscape, wherever you're at. But those are, I mean, obviously they need to be cohesive. You need to think everything through from beginning to the end. Um, we were discussing when we were having a little pre-show meeting. We were talking about Heineke. Am I saying her name right? Because she does these fantastic. Um, I I follow her and I love that content. So,
But
and
she really pronounces it Henica.
Hanukkah, got it, got it. Yeah, she has fantastic content. She's done a great job utilizing these carousels. Um, I still think it's funny how these platforms all copy each other because obviously carousel posts are very popular on LinkedIn, and for a lot of people, outperform Reels as much as video and Reels are getting the
On
attention.
Instagram.
So it's no surprise that LinkedIn jumped in. and said, "Hey, we're going to do that." But again, they do really well. So in addition to videos, if you're trying to take a break from your videos, obviously video content's fantastic, but you can really set up these carousel posts, and they do have a fantastic visual impact on people scrolling through a feed.
I think you said LinkedIn by mistake when you were talking about Instagram and Reels. But
No, I was talking about how it's funny how these platforms copy each other.
right, right, right. So they want to be Instagram, they want to be TikTok because
They see what these people are doing.
native video thing is to me when they're talking about their new features with native video. So they want you to be on the platform doing it direct, which might change your use. Like today, I'm using StreamYard, a third party tool. So it may change that. Well, that's part their idea. But my question, which I haven't seen answered, is the same problem I have with doing LinkedIn Live audio, and that is, can you record the event? Because LinkedIn's not offering you any recordings. I've had to get them through, this way and that way and every other way. To me, that's a big question about video. Also, I believe they're starting to introduce where you don't just have to do vertical, which they first brought in because they wanted you to do short TikTok like things. Now they're expanding it to be like any different kinds of videos. But what they're pushing is that it's native video through that platform. Any insight there, James?
Yeah, I've seen that already. I have had some success even with landscape videos, which were really out of not trendy for a while anywhere. But they're really pushing video again. They went through this a few years ago, but obviously people want to see video. They're engaged by it. So it's good to see that they're opening their platform up and aren't just limited to a vertical format or a real style format, because some things are just, they look better in a landscape format or even a square format. So everything doesn't translate to that vertical format. It opens up your possibilities and things you can do with that.
So
So
I kind of look at shorts that way too. I feel like they have a limitation in what you can really
mhm,
showcase in the term of in the constraint of a short. And for
right.
business purposes, that's not going to do a ton sometimes, but it will be great for promotional stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Those kind of things, you can still make it work. Let's see. We have a comment here. Oh, not using LinkedIn yet.
Oh, look at that.
A business person, if you're into the business, if you do B2B, or if you're looking to work with businesses, it's the business social media platform above all, right? Jane, would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
And speaking of that, we could get to this topic too.
Ah.
It's about the business. You were saying something first, then we'll bring this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And business has a wide scope. I mean, even to grow your network, or to meet fellow, business professionals, you don't know where the future is going to take you. So whether you decide to start your own business or, get a new job or whatever you want to do, LinkedIn can be a big help with that.
Absolutely. And we're going to distinguish in our next segment here. I think this is the last one on the tips. We're going to distinguish, what pushes out better, plays better, maybe I should say, on the personal versus the business side. But business pages have just introduced something else new. Again, I'm not sure if people have heard about it yet, but you can have sponsors now on your LinkedIn newsletters. So you can have people who are paying to sponsor your newsletters through LinkedIn. And this is a new feature to business page newsletters. And maybe some of you didn't even know your business page can have a newsletter. So you have to have so many followers though to do it. That's the stipulation on a business page. But interesting again, James.
Yeah, I think this is another step in the direction. In addition to video, LinkedIn is really focusing on their newsletters. sending them, directly on the platform. I actually attended another session talking about um, different email marketing things, but they specifically mentioned LinkedIn newsletters. That's an area that LinkedIn is really focusing on. They see how successful email marketing is in a lot of circumstances, and they want to get in on that. The more they can keep people on the platform, they're all about it. So I didn't necessarily see it coming, but in hindsight, it's not surprising that they've gone this route. Um, but it's a good opportunity if it's something that fits your brand. So this is another thing that goes into your whether you want to do a company page or a profile.
And this comment that was just made by 30-day email challenge, hello, again, this is important because this is LinkedIn has changed dramatically.
Yes.
Dramatically. You're thinking of LinkedIn of yesteryear, or yesteryear.
Yep.
We like to talk in fortnights here anyway. But yeah, so LinkedIn has completely changed. They've had more changes on the platform this year than they've had in LinkedIn's entire history. It's a new and
Yeah.
improved, well, we'll see if it's improved. It's a new platform, but for a business to business audience, and for, doing business and making business with businesses. Look, smaller businesses compared to bigger businesses, the budget is what you're after. So you have to think about, like, you can get personal people to buy on some of these platters, but platters. I keep calling platforms platters. For weeks I've been saying platters. Okay, so on some of these platforms, you're going to get a more personal business audience. But on LinkedIn, it's really highly professional. It has a highly educated audience. It has a lot of hiring audience, but hiring audience also means like freelance work and service businesses that interact and all those kinds of things. So and now they're even, were you here last week when we were talking about, I think they introduced games. Like, I don't go to LinkedIn to play games. Sorry, that I'm going to stick with.
People can't. Some of these platforms have a hard time sticking with their strengths and building on those. Um, they've done a lot of great stuff. It's amazing how much LinkedIn has evolved from because it did used to be an upload your resume and forget about it type of platform, and they've come a long way with increasing time on platform and overall engagement. But yeah, and then they have to go out on the kind of go outside their boundaries and introduce things where it's like, really? Remember back in the day on Facebook when that games were really huge and you were getting all these updates in your feed about people playing Mafia Wars or Farmville or whatever. And it's like, do we want to see that on LinkedIn? I don't think that's the time or the place.
Yeah, and I think last I checked, there is a pretty good spend time, like time on LinkedIn, time on platform that people go in because they're actually like researching. They're trying to engage with people who matter. They're trying to find their fellow people, their tribe, their community on LinkedIn. And I think LinkedIn has a lot of more conversation than the other platforms, not platters, the other platforms. And I think also that LinkedIn, they're really pushing that engagement and try. I like that things people are trying new things. Like, I don't mind that they're trying audio or video. I just wish they would, because they're supposed to be a business platform. I wish they would do the things that business people expect, like those recordings should be easy to have.
Yeah, that's something they should be working on, not games. That's that's the
Well,
other
I
thing
think
they have
you've
to
heard
be
me say
careful.
all of them should stay in their lane. They
Yes,
all should, and really be good at what they do. If they really kicked ass at what they do, they would all have their own space where they're unique and they're the best at that.
right.
But they keep trying to copy each other and fight with each other. I guess that's part of competition. I don't know.
Absolutely. But it is something they have to be careful of because LinkedIn is kind of a special thing. Some companies, especially larger companies, may block social media while people are at work, but LinkedIn is usually excluded from that. But if they start putting out things like games, they may not be excluded from that any longer. So they might want to be careful because they're getting a lot of traffic and engagement during business hours from business professionals. You don't want to turn that off. Oh, you're on mute
You're on
again.
mute again. Absolutely. I would say absolutely. So, from a personal profile perspective, what are the benefits? Like, what, it is about showcasing skills and experience and achievements, which I think is a good thing. But what are the biggest benefits to doing your personal branding, I guess you would call it, through a personal profile?
Well, first of all, you can build your personal brand, which is essential because you can take that with you wherever you go. Whether you go into business for yourself or go to work for someone else, switch jobs, switch careers. That's why a personal brand is so valuable. And I've seen that in my own life. Just I spent years in corporate America before I went out on my own. That's the power of a personal profile. And plus, you can build that community. So, maybe you work for someone else, but someday you'd like to start your own business and go into business for yourself. By having that personal profile and building that community in your network, you already have a captive audience for when you do start your own business or change jobs or whatnot. It's not the same with a company page, or say you're in business for yourself and decide to go work for someone else. You can't take that with you. Whereas the personal profile, I mean, that really goes, it's part of your personal brand. So you can take that with you wherever you go.
That's a pretty cool way to look at it. And I think people don't think about, like, I guess now people are talking more about your personal brand because everybody can be an individual, seen on social, and having a voice with digital media and blogging and all the things. But I think that now there's more of a concentration on personal branding. And I think that that's the thing, like I kind of my tagline from the marketing mirror, because everything you say,
Hmm.
everything you do reflects your business and brand. And if we think about it that way, then we, kind of try to make ourselves think more about how our presence is on social. We take a more meaningful and thoughtful approach to how we present ourselves on social. And
Hmm.
I think that's really an important thing. It's not just about being out there, right? It's about being out there in a meaningful way as best you can.
Absolutely. Um, And I think that's part of our cultural change. You used to go work for a company and spend 40 years there and retire and get a pension. And that's not our culture, and our economy has changed a lot. So a lot of people switch jobs. More people than ever are going into business for themselves. So I think that's part of the attention on personal branding is people realize the value of it because it's a much more DIY approach to your career. Like you're in charge of your career, your company that you work for is not, which used to be more the case.
It's a great way to show up most authentically, most true to who you are. Um, and I'm sorry if this is Gail or somebody I know, it's coming up LinkedIn user, but personal branding can also be limiting. And that is actually the negative that we have listed here. That if you want to grow, and especially if you're growing a business, a company, you might need to step outside that personal
Hmm.
brand. That's actually the next point, LinkedIn user. Thank you. Yeah, because if you really want to promote a company, a product, if you want to scale up, let's say, then you're going to have to step out of personal branding and more into that company page. That could be
Hmm.
one of the negatives to, just doing the profile, right?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, you can add quite a few connections. I think LinkedIn caps out at like 30,000 connections for your personal profile. But if you want to scale a company and actually, grow a team and um, make it as big as you can, that's definitely a situation where you're going to want a company page.
And another thing that our interactor put up here is also if you want to have an exit strategy or you want to sell your company, you might want to scale it or build it beyond that personal small business brand and small business feeling. You know, there's something to that too. I had a company that was a physical company for decades. I'm not going to say how many. And so what I know is that you can have the thought of being like the smallest big company or the biggest small company. It's the value of that brand as an overall picture. Like people don't have to really be aware that it's like really, you know, a very small core company. Like a lot of us solopreneurs, I guess you would say, do and have.
Absolutely.
Let's see, I have another one here on the personal. What was it? Oh, engagement and networking, of course. So see, this is the thing too. Don't discount your personal profile and those networking, engagement, interactions, those relationships you build. Don't discount them as future business and partnerships and bigger projects and bigger things. So that the building those relationships on that personal profile level can be a world as you transfer into that bigger company account, or if you do both, or if you just stay at the personal brand level. If you know, if you're a small business, you can get a lot of business that way. You really can.
Absolutely. You never know. Everyone may not become a client, but they may be a connector. They may, connect you to people who are fantastic clients. They may be people you partner with or collaborate with on future projects. You never know. So, personal connections are fantastic for so many reasons. Plus, it is easier to um, connect with someone and look someone up. Like say I met you at a networking event, Sue Ann, and I remember you. I remember your personality, your name, but I don't necessarily remember Right Mix for Business if I just met you or the marketing mirror. So if I'm looking you up personally and you have a personal profile, it's easier for me to find you and connect.
And our interactor is my friend Lee Love, it looks like. Hi, Lee. Love ya. Hope you're doing well. He's in Florida. Elon Musk is someone that has done a great job of doing both. I think you're right. I would have to agree with that. That man has a huge personal brand.
Yes.
And his companies are really saving lives. Excuse
And
me, saving lives right now.
that's a great example of someone who has built a very strong personal brand and separate corporate brands with for his companies. It's not the same, which is something we talked about. People setting up, sometimes people feel like they have to have a personal profile and a company page and just blast out the same content on both. And that's not really useful. And plus, it's more for you to do because people, small business owners, creators, we don't typically have a lot of extra time on our hands. So that's something that you have to think about. But Elon has done, like I said, he's built a fantastic personal brand and corporate brands separate from that. So that's a great example of
And when
someone
you
who's done
have
both.
such a strong personal brand, it carries weight in anything you do, endeavor in business. Like that personal brand carries weight in all his business interactions and endeavors and getting backers. And I think it's a strong positive towards any
Yes,
company he becomes involved with, the strong personal brand. Thank you so much for that, Lee. What does
yes.
Lisa have to say? Lee love for sure. He's great. I miss him because he's been relocating, and we do a lot of, playing, partnering, and creating, which is fun. So hopefully he'll get his new studio set up, and I'll get to play with him soon. And just like Lisa too. Lisa, how is it up there in Maine right now? It's crazy. She's so far up there. Oh, look who's here.
Eileen is here.
Great to see you too, my friend.
Yes. Thanks for
We
coming.
are having so much fun learning about LinkedIn. We found some new tricks already. Now, I think that the authenticity part is almost easier as a personal brand, as a profile, than finding. Look, some companies do it really well, they get really good at it, and their story is their brand, but it's not as easy as being, I think, truly authentic as a personal brand on a personal profile. In a way that takes a lot more public relations, marketing, melding, building a brand. And because your brand is so much determined by how others see you and not so much what you claim your brand to be nowadays, I think that's a factor too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the, there's ways to get around that, but one of the benefits of a personal profile is to show your whole self. Like Lisa here, she just got a new puppy, which is adorable, by the way. Um, that's something that you can, yes. Um, something you can bring to your presence, your profile, you got a new puppy or your kids, if you're a momapreneur, I can't say that word, but a working mom who has a business, or trying to show that work-life balance or the behind the scenes of what it's like to be a small business owner. That's something you can really showcase, that I've been trying to do more on mine. I didn't do that initially. People want to see that. They want to see the whole picture. And so that's something, if you have a company page, you need to, showcase your I love dogs. I've been going to get one myself forever, and I'm getting to a point where I can have enough time to devote to it, because I don't want to get one and then not have enough time to spend with it.
Your doggy will love you because you're a hiker walker like Lisa.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like that. That's good. I'm stuck to my chair. I'm going to be a potato soon. I'm kidding. But anyway, Lisa, I can't wait to hear. Did you name the doggy yet? You're going to have to tell us. But the other thing, too, I think with the LinkedIn, with your personal stories and stuff, it also, I mean, I think people like to work with people. So when people
Mhm.
get to know you and kind of like you a little bit, that helps them feel more comfortable working with you.
Yes.
And it's about that building trust, right? That trust factor.
Absolutely. And that's why it's helpful. Lisa's jumping in on our live event while her dog takes a nap.
That's the only way she can get away with it.
Exactly. But it is helpful to showcase. Stella's a cute name. I like that. Um, but it is helpful to showcase, some of the personal. I know some people are uncomfortable with that, but you don't have to get, just to show some non-working things. Maybe what you like to do as a hobby, or if you get an animal like that, or you have kids or whatnot. Um, it does really help paint a whole picture, and people feel like they know you better. And like you said, that leads to that trust, establishing that trust. And like I said, I didn't do it well in the past either, and I'm trying to do more of that. Share the personal side. I'm an introvert by nature, so
I think that's part of the shifting tides of social that we've kind of been talking about over these past
yes.
weeks. Yes. I think things are changing, and I think it's a little bit like of a lighter approach, maybe you might call it, where it is, more personal. Look, especially with the invasion of bots and AI. You think,
Yes.
oh, good, we're all AI, but really, that just makes that human contact and that knowing people personally even more precious, right?
Yes, and you've really seen that on LinkedIn. I mean, remember when LinkedIn was like 100% buttoned up, professional? You did not share anything about, "Oh, I'm having a baby," or, "I adopted a animal from the shelter," or anything. You did not share that on LinkedIn. And you're seeing a lot more of that today. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, people can always overstep, that's anywhere. But I see so much more of that in my feed, and I like it. It does make it more human. And I think that's part of the reason people are spending more time on this platform.
Yeah, I think again, like for me, because I am a little like odd, like weird about it. Well, also because I did explain to you, I'm not being inauthentic talking about business. That's what I love. That's what I do.
Right.
That's been my life. So I do love it. I'm a weird ducky, as I've called myself before. But learning is the funnest thing to me. And I think when people are sharing things about yourself, you're learning. You're learning about a
Yes.
person, you're learning about their, and then it makes it easier to interact too because you understand, you get a feel for what matters, I guess, to people. It's
Yeah.
sort of, it demonstrates your values somehow.
Yep. Yeah, it gives you talking points. You can start a conversation with someone. Like when I posted that picture of when I went kayaking, in the Allegheny, and you were talking about taking your boat out, it's a natural conversation starter. You can find out things about people, what they like to do, outside of work. Like it's a natural conversation starter. And if you have a company page, you can really showcase your employees, behind the scenes, celebrate them, whether they're celebrating a work anniversary or volunteering at a local food bank or having a Halloween party. You can really showcase that and help humanize your company page and
All the
try to
behind the
put that
scenes
out there.
things.
Yes.
Yeah, the volunteer work that we do as a company is another good one.
Yes.
The one last thing I wanted to say to finish personal pages, though, is that a lot of people use it for, and it still is a good, like, job seeking career guide, that kind of stuff. That's still part of, well, I guess that more leans towards personal profile, right? That part.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still very valuable in that area. And like I said, we don't know our futures. You never know what's going to come out. So make sure you're putting your best foot forward on your personal profile, that it's optimized. Have a strong heading. You do not have to put a title in your heading. You want to utilize keywords in there to help you come up in search, because a lot of people are searching on LinkedIn looking for like-minded individuals or potential people they could collaborate with, or looking for contract work. There's that little section on your profile that you can denote to recruiters that you are open to work, um, in what you're looking for specifically, like the types of roles or contract work, which is private. Other people can't see that. So there's different things you can do, but just make sure I was doing some updating on mine last night, like switching up my featured section. It's so easy to set stuff and forget about it and not look at it again. So take a fresh eye at your profile and see if it's current. See if you have everything on there, whether it's projects you've worked on, um, your portfolio, different services that you offer. You can put that on your profile now. Um, and I think LinkedIn has started to see that a lot of small business owners and creators are using a personal profile, for business, like to sell their services and to offer their services. So they've added a lot of features and resources. You can put your services on there. You can put different projects that you've worked on and show collaborations and tag people that you've worked with. So there's a lot of different things you can do on there to properly and effectively use a personal profile for your business.
When do you think you need to consider adding or concentrating more on a business profile? Or do you always want to have your personal profile regardless of whether you have a business page?
I would, just because, like I said, that personal brand is so valuable, and you can take that with you, no matter
Oh,
what
and you
happens in
did
the
say
future.
don't duplicate the same content on your personal and your business
I
page.
think that, well, first of all, you're not giving people a reason. If you do that, if you share the same content on both spaces, you're not giving people a reason to follow your company page. If they're already connected to you on your personal profile, why would they follow your company page separately? Because now they're getting that content multiple times, which is kind of spammy. Um, so, and plus, it's still more for you to maintain. People think, oh, I'll just blast it out. It won't take now you're managing two pages, because both presences have, if you have people um, commenting on them or that you want to engage with. Both presences have messaging now. You can control that on pages, but company pages do have messaging now if you opt to turn that on. So people can message you on there. So it's still two different
That's a
presences
little
you have to take care
scary.
of. So you might as well optimize both of them and share appropriate content for both. And if you don't have that, then maybe you stick with the personal profile.
I was saying that's a little scary, the DM on your business page, because we get enough on the personal profile.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that because I think that you're thinking correctly, because what you're saying, I'm going to narrow it down to just a couple things. Like, it's about focus and strategy. And, if you're going to put your resources, your time and effort into creating and building a business page, you have to have, that meaningful strategic intent in put it into that avenue, that venue. And then to be sure, I think it's so smart that you mentioned that you want to give people a reason to go to the business page aside from they already saw it on your personal profile. There has to be a distinction. I think that's huge, because I think I've made that mistake myself, like even on my even how I use Facebook, which crazy. But I don't know about Facebook, but I don't know. But anyway, I think that those are really key distinctions. And again, what about this rolling out of the page verifications on LinkedIn? Like, what are they doing to verify your business page?
That is actually a brand new thing that they're rolling out. So it's actually only available to certain pages right now. Everyone can't request verification. You can request to go on a wait list, but basically you can request to have your page verified. That means that it is an official page of that organization. So that, like, if you set up a company page for the marketing mirror, like LinkedIn would verify that that is the official page or one of the official pages for the marketing mirror, that it's not a spoof account, or it's not like there's so many like fake accounts and everything out there in social media, that they're just trying to verify that this is actually Nike's company page, not somebody starting a fake account.
The
But
spam
again,
and the bots and the fakes are so
Yes.
frustrating. And I think now that you said that, that was also a factor in eliminating, they said, they didn't say the lack of quality over or quantity, the lack of quality over quantity, but they said a lot of bot or spam or bot answers, like,
yes.
and look, none of us want spam. None of us want to be friends with bots. We want to know people. We want to make friends with real people and make real connections. That's the only way you're really going to have business results come from it.
Yeah. So if you do have a company page or you're setting one up, you can request to be waitlisted right now to have your page verified. It's not a guarantee that LinkedIn will actually verify it. And since it is a new feature, I have a feeling there's going to be a serious backlog. They have a history, LinkedIn has a history of announcing things and rolling things out and not quite being prepared to handle it. So hopefully that won't be the case this time. But if they do, you can request to be waitlisted. I mean, verification can help build trust with your audience, but I think part of that has been chipped away because you can get verified on platforms now, like on X, you just pay for it and it doesn't mean anything. Like, you can pay for verification or whatnot, and it doesn't even actually mean it's a valid account. So it's just a revenue thing. So
I guess they figure some bots won't be willing to pay.
right.
And that was, I guess, the theory anyway. But the truth is, maybe some bots are very willing to pay because they're trying to trick you in their bot spam like way.
That's true.
Their bot spam like way. So does anyone out there have more questions about this? I think Jamie's doing a great job covering some of the most important parts of it. I think that it takes a little bit more time to build that business page. You can't have a newsletter for a business page until you've reached, I think, 200 followers. So that's a thing. Where do the features where do the paid features versus the non-paid features, where's the like, does it behoove you to be a paid business page, or in what instances are you finding that may or may not be better for some clients?
Well, I think the free page, like the basic account, really does offer a lot of benefits if you're presenting, if you're building that corporate brand or building a company brand. I have clients who do quite well on their company page. They utilize, you can set up events, host events on there. You can, showcase. Oh, one thing I do want to mention about company pages, some people really do utilize the employee advocacy features where you can connect with your employees on LinkedIn and help them share appropriate content or kind of monitor what they're doing and help them build their own personal brands and also your company brand. LinkedIn has decided to remove that pretty quickly. It's going to be gone by next month. So if you do utilize that or you have clients utilizing that, you might want to look into some different features. You can still, help your employees, share your content but you're going to have to do it on another platform or use another vehicle to do that because the entire employee advocacy section is going away. So that's something.
I wonder what the thinking behind that might be.
I don't know because that's something that some companies really like to utilize, especially larger companies, that they could kind of, help their employees get out there and be active in an appropriate way and not violate their brand guidelines. Um,
And get them, buy into the whole thing with the company and their message, their value.
yeah, absolutely. And kind of increase employee pride and loyalty to the company. So I'm not sure if if LinkedIn was running into some kind of issues with it. With and I'm guessing here, I don't know, but we've seen some things in the news in the last few years where companies have kind of overstepped, kind of forcing employees to either share their content on their personal spaces or even giving up their passwords and their logins to their social media accounts, which is, in my opinion, wildly inappropriate. So maybe I don't know. I'm guessing here that maybe LinkedIn started to run into or hear complaints from people that companies were like forcing them to share their content and they didn't want to, so they're going away from that. Or if they couldn't figure out a way to monetize it and it's too much work on their end to keep that whole, suite of features up. I'm sure there's a lot of work behind the scenes. That might be more likely.
That reminds me how important it is with your social media strategies and work to have a check and balances system, even if you're check and balancing yourself. Like, even if you have to set up your schedule and then go back and look and think, wait, did I really want to say this or comment on that trend, or is that appropriate to my business, or did I say that the right way? You don't want to just like spew it out there. And I think sometimes, like, I know of many cases actually where people have lost their jobs because of something they said on their personal social media. So yes, that's interesting too. And again, if you're thinking of yourself as a personal brand or, a marketable brand to get more work, you might need to really think about what you put on your social media in terms of even on a personal level, because everything you do reflects your business and brand. Everything you say comes back. And so, I don't know. I mean,
That's a great point, and that might be a conversation you have. If you do have a team, if you have employees, you might wanna sit down and talk to them about that and kinda what your guidelines or expectations are, so that there aren't any surprises. Not controlling what they do, but just kinda having that conversation because sometimes people get really emotional and make impulsive decisions and end up posting things they regret. And once you post something, it's always there. I mean, you can delete it, but there's all these backups and people screenshotting things. So, maybe you talk to your team about, hey,
oh,
here's
and even silly stuff. Did you like? I remember back there was an example where somebody like said misstated something really like silly, like a dumb, like a da had an airhead moment, like said like a state was a country, or
Right.
misstated something, like really had a duh moment. If you had that checks and balances, if it went through the system where somebody else makes sure, or even you go back and look at your work, you might catch things like that. And now with AI, I would think that some things, if you're like talking about factual things, would be even easier to check real easy.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And then one other point I wanted to make about showcasing your employees, that's kind of a big thing right now, but you have to be careful. If you're directly tagging your employees, maybe they're not, some people still do utilize LinkedIn as a set it and forget it, not recommended, but hey, they set up an account and haven't touched it in 2 years. By tagging your employees in your company page posts, you're saying it's appropriate for potential customers to contact them on that platform because you're providing a direct link. So just make sure that your employees are comfortable with that and that they're going to be available if someone DMs them to ask them for a quote or ask them a question, that they're actually on the platform somewhat active basis. Otherwise, you may not want to directly tag them. You may just want to say, hey, here's a great picture of, Sue Ann volunteering at the food bank. You may not want to tag her account if she's not active, because I've run into that with employee or with clients where they don't think about that and they're tagging employees directly, and then people are contacting them on those platforms and they're not seeing the messages. So just a heads up. Um, and I saw Lisa posted, she asked if the verification costs money. The company page verification at this point does not. Um, as I said, it's not available to all company pages yet. You have to ask to join the wait list. So right now it doesn't. I'm not sure if that's going to be because it's a new feature thing, and eventually if it takes off they might, but right now there is no charge for that. So just wanted to
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
answer that.
Any important things that we wanted to cover? Of course, analytics, that was another one, because
Oh,
everybody knows you got to
yes.
pay attention to your analytics, but they don't make it all that easy to do that, because with a profile, they don't give you detailed analytics, which I know also with Pinterest, they want you to have the business, they push you to get the business page, because then you can get the
Yes.
analytics.
Yeah, that's
But
actually why I switched over on there.
yeah,
Yeah, LinkedIn has gotten a little bit better. They do offer you some analytics on a personal profile, but they're not what they offer on a company page. So if you really are into those analytics, that's something that's available to the company page. Plus, there's different advertising options. I'll say that advertising, if you want to go that route on LinkedIn, is expensive, but you know, if you're going to do that, make it a central part of your strategy. If you're going to pay for these premium features or pay to advertise, make sure that you are utilizing that and getting all the benefits out of it. I have some clients who have gone that route and they've seen some success, but that is the central part of their social media strategy. So, LinkedIn looks at themselves as kind of a cut above other platforms because they do have that professional background. So you're going to pay for things on here. Even like I was looking up last night that you can upgrade, like for example, your company page, you can upgrade that to a premium company page for added benefits. That starts at $70 a month, although you can save like 30% if you pay annually. But if you're going to pay for these things, just make sure you utilize them. But I wouldn't jump into that. Like I said, you can get a lot of use out of a company page for the standard benefits. So try that first. See how it works for you before you start spending that money, because you always got to spend money on all kinds of things. So maybe that money could be more useful elsewhere. Um,
is that something that's like extra, or is that part of your business page? Because I know that was one of the things, like featured products or services. I know that was
You can create product pages. That's not a premium feature. You can create that on a standard company page. So if you do want to showcase specific products, and my choice of words there, you can actually create showcase pages too, which highlights like a specific brand. Like if you want to showcase, if you have multiple brands or divisions or different things within a company, you can create showcase pages. So showcase pages, product pages, those are available on standard company pages. So you can really do a deep dive. Like maybe you do a big product launch and launch a new product. You can create a product page to really showcase that separately. Just keep in mind that everything that you create is going to have to be maintained and managed. So you're adding to your workload. So make sure it's something that you want to, that's important to you, and that you incorporate into your strategy, because it's going to be a little bit extra work.
social media is a little extra work, but if we can make those if we can create that engagement, we can build those relationships, we can have those interactions, then we can get business results. And so then it's meaningful, then it's well thought. And also, like I've talked about before, like creating the stepping stones to get to you. And we talked about some of that stuff with top of funnel marketing, where you're like introducing people to make them aware and, create that interest and attract them. But then you have to lead them, back through your stepping stones to get to know you more and bring them closer to you.
Just to add to that quickly, I know we're over time here. I jumped into Pinterest Presents on Monday quickly. I actually have to go back and watch the rest of it. But Chase made an interesting thing. They're utilizing Pinterest to do it, but you could do the same thing on LinkedIn. They're really investing in top of funnel right now because they want to be there at the beginning of people's journeys, like when they start chasing a dream or a goal. And they've already seen that allows them to bring on more like smaller incremental accounts that grow with them. And it's cut their costs by over a third to acquire these accounts and keep them. So when you're there at the beginning of the journey, you can kind of grow with people and go along with people, as they've seen a big impact on that and their like credit card business and their different businesses that they have. I thought that jumped out at me. There is a lot of benefits of investing time and resources in top of funnel. I think sometimes it doesn't get the respect that it deserves, but it's difficult to show up at the last minute and expect to get a sale or a long-term customer when you haven't been there all along.
Oh my gosh, that's so important and so true. And I think that's it. Like people like, I just want to make the sale. Well, you got to start the conversation.
Right,
you don't just say, hello, I love you, let's jump in bed.
Right,
You
right.
say,
That's
hey,
a great analogy.
let's go have an appetizer and chat.
Exactly. You got to build that relationship. And I think people want that more than ever today. They want to work with companies and brands over the long term. They want to find people they share values with. They want to find people that they feel like a good fit with and stick with them.
And I wonder if we should make Pinterest one of our upcoming shows, Miss Jamie. What do you think?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because I've been learning more about it too, and I'm just switching to a business page because I wanted to make a video showing it and just do it like to show people, like do it with people, like transfer from my personal to a business page, show you guys like here I'm doing it, and let's see what happens, because it's an area I haven't put in a ton of space, but Pinterest was one of the first that was monetized. People don't always realize that. They were one of the first that let you like shop from the platform. And Pinterest is also a search engine, and people don't always think about that. And that's also important. And that's like when you said about using tags with your business page and your profiles, that's, helping with the search engine aspect of LinkedIn as well. So
Yes.
I think we've
Absolutely.
covered so much today. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, we've covered a lot. So if anyone has any questions, please jump in either now, or if you have to ruminate on it and let it think a little bit, hit us up afterward. We'll be happy to continue the conversation or answer any other questions.
What do you know that we forgot, right? Oh, Lisa
Right.
loves Pinterest, which I knew. I'm gonna put that up. She loves
Yes, you
Pinterest.
definitely have to touch on Pinterest. You have to fit that into your schedule moving
You can come
forward.
on with us, Lisa, because
Yeah.
she gets a lot of traffic from Pinterest. And when it first started happening for her, I remember her telling me, much to my surprise, I'm really getting driving traffic from Pinterest. So
Mhm.
that would be cool. We could have a little panel. We'll have a Pinterest panel, Lisa, if you want to come on with.
That's fantastic. It's a good idea.
And we invite all of you to, give your insights, ask your questions. If you're watching on the replay, we do circle back and we will help you. Like, was it Gail and Eileen last week that were pointing out that people that I talked to and myself and you and Lisa and Eileen and Gail, all really easy to work with, to talk to, all willing to help anytime.
Absolutely. Yeah, drop a comment or leave a message and we'll be happy to
We're
respond.
here for you. We're here for
Absolutely.
you. And in closing, I just want to send out love to my best friend Carol, who I'm sitting in her condo. I just love her to pieces, and she needs some love from everybody right now. And I so happy everybody made it today. So happy we pulled this off, Jamie.
Yes, we did it. Thank you to
We were
everyone for
kind of
coming.
flying by our seat for a minute. You were covering it on your end. I was covering it on my end. We just had to get it together.
Exactly.
And oh, do you have some traveling coming up?
Well, I actually have been on a few trips, so right now we'll see. I might take another
Find
one a
out
little
what you
bit,
learned
but
on business for those too.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks again. We really appreciate you being here, and we'll talk to everybody very soon. See you soon.
They,
And again, thank you for watching the Marketing Mirror. I'm Sue Ann with Right Mix for Business. Be careful when you're out there doing your thing with marketing, because everything you say and everything you do does reflect your business and brand, and you want to put your best foot forward at all times. I think it's so important that we all try to do that. And peace, everybody. We wish happiness, health, and good things to all the people caught in Helene. And hopefully that will get rectified and people will be back online and back in their homes as soon as we can work it out as a country. So blessings to everyone. Take care.